There is perhaps no better known or more beloved region of France than Provence. Provence is located in the southeastern corner of France along the Mediterranean Sea. It's rugged, rustic, windswept, and illuminated with an intense, highly saturated sunlight found in few other places on Earth. Most of the largest towns in Provence are located along or close to the Mediterranean: Marseille, Toulon, Nice, Aix, and Cannes. But it's the small, ancient hilltop villages of the interior that are the real attraction. The best way to tour Provence is by car, but a minibus tour with a professional guide like Laurent Catoni of All Provence Tours is a great option. Tours are especially good if you have limited time and want to see as much as possible. From our base in Avignon, we began our tour of Provence in the village of Les Baux, about 14 miles to the south. The village is built on a rocky outcrop, a natural fortress offering protection to the villages and the farms in the valley below. There are signs of human habitation here as far back as 6000 BC. An actual fortress was built here, but it was torn down in 1632 during the religious wars that racked the region. Les Baux was a Protestant stronghold until then. In 1642, the village was given to the Grimaldi family, rulers of the nearby Principality of Monaco. The town is French now, but the title Marquis of Les Baux is retained by the Grimaldis. At its peak, about 4,000 people lived here. Now it's down to a few hundred, mostly those involved in the tourism business. In the early 1800s, the mineral used to produce aluminum was discovered nearby. The mineral takes its name from the town. It's called bauxite. The early rulers of Les Baux believed they were descended from Balthazar, one of the three kings who followed the Star of Bethlehem to the newborn Christ child. Les Baux has another Christmas connection. One of its museums is devoted to the Santon figurines unique to Provence. They depict all of the characters in the Nativity story, as well as traditional characters found in village life. The area around Les Baux is filled with olive groves. The harvest isn't until late fall, but you can stop in an olive press and see how the oil is made and sample the wide variety of oils that are produced. Standing in the groves, you get a sense of how strong the wind blows in Provence. They call it mistral winds, and they blow like this for over 100 days a year. Trees lining the fields and roadways have a very practical purpose. They help keep Provence from literally being gone with the wind. About 5 miles northeast of Les Baux is the town of Saint-Rémy. Each Wednesday, it hosts one of the largest markets in Provence. Saint-Rémy is the birthplace of Nostradamus. He attended university in Avignon and spent years researching herbal remedies, which got him into trouble with the medical profession and the church, who suspected him of sorcery. He later became famous for his visions of future world events. In May 1889, Vincent van Gogh committed himself to a sanitarium in Saint-Rémy. Van Gogh suffered from depression. During the year he lived here, he painted some of his best-known works, including Starry Night. Shortly after leaving Saint-Rémy, Van Gogh died, the apparent victim of suicide. 20 miles northeast of Saint-Rémy is the village of Gordes. Gordes is listed as one of the most beautiful villages in France. It began as a Roman settlement because of its commanding views of the Luberon Valley. There are still reminders of Roman times in the area. 5 miles to the east is the village of Roussillon, another of the listed most beautiful villages in France. The area was once covered by the Mediterranean Sea. When the sea retreated, it left behind rich mineral deposits of ochre. Ochre comes in yellow, orange, and red, and is used to color paints. Ochre mining went on here until the 1930s, when it stopped to prevent further environmental damage. A local legend says the color came from the blood of a noblewoman who threw herself off the cliffs after hearing that her lover had been killed by her jealous husband. From Roussillon, we headed 5 miles south to the village of Lacoste, the ancestral home of the Sade family and their most notorious member, the Marquis de Sade. Their castle once stood on the highest point in the town, but it was destroyed during the French Revolution. Today, the property is owned by world-famous designer Pierre Cardin, who owns several other properties in the village. Each summer, he hosts an art and music festival. Lacoste has another American connection. The Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia has a campus here, so you'll often find young Americans in the village. Artists aren't the only ones who enjoy the beautiful year-round sunlight in Provence. Grapes love it too. The area is filled with vineyards where you can stop for a tour and a tasting. Growers plant rose bushes at the head of the rows of vines as an early warning system. Pests attack the rose bushes first, giving the growers time to protect their grapes. Our last stop was about 11 miles from Lacoste in the village of Sorgue, sometimes referred to as the Venice of Provence. The river's swift currents power water wheels once used in the cloth dyeing and textile industry. The river makes a beautiful backdrop to the town's parks and waterside cafes. Thursday is market day, so is Sunday, when the town is given over to antique dealers. Wherever you start your tour of Provence, there is always something interesting to see and do just a few miles away. Visitors can easily spend days exploring the region. Even if you don't have a lot of time, you can still see a lot with the help of a knowledgeable local guide. Your only regret in visiting Provence is likely going to be that you didn't have enough time to savor this most beautiful part of France.